this will probably help this assignment, but it will really come in handy in future assignments, what I'm about to say. So semiotics is all over the place, right? I mean, like once you start, if you were to do an internet search, you would find endless connections about psychology and semiotics and medicine. I mean, how we find meaning through pictures is a big thing. And one of the things that becomes curious about it is we all look at the same thing and we may have different perspectives and different opinions, but at the same time, we can all kind of speak the same language. And there are parts to this language that you might not be aware of, but it comes from us being human, like a human language. So here's what I mean. In art, even things are calming, like 2 squares, 2 apples, 2 columns are calming. And you need to write down even numbers are calming. Odd numbers of things are exciting when you look at a picture. Odd numbers are exciting. Now, here's the reason that you know that from when before you were born. And we know that in the womb, a baby can hear its mother's heartbeat, can hear her walking, can even feel some emotions. Well, when the mother's heartbeat is boom, 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 and her breathing is, or her walking is, that's very calming and reassuring, everything's okay. But if you're in your mama's womb and you hear, you're going to get a little agitated. And if you hear somebody go, it's not even, you're like, oh my God, what's happening? And if you hear even somebody walk, that whole odd rhythm catches your attention and makes it interesting. So in art, advertising, and visual images, that's used a lot. For instance, a bank will have an ad that has 2 things in it, but Mardi Gras will have 7 things in it. Just, you can count it. Okay, the other one is lines. Vertical lines, up and down lines, create power and strength. Because if I want to really, if we were in a classroom and I was really pissed at you, I would come up and I would draw myself up tall. Animals try to be taller when they're, threatened. So vertical lines show power and strength. And you might notice a preponderance of vertical lines in those statues. It's intended. Now, if I were to lay down and lay flat horizontally, lines that go this way are calming and soothing. Because my body, when it goes horizontal, when it goes this way, I'm either sleeping or dead. And so horizontal lines mean calm, peaceful. So if you have 2 horizontal lines, they're trying to make you think, oh, this is very calm, peaceful, you can trust it. 3 horizontal lines, it's calm and peaceful, but it's interesting. I mean, it really is that particular. Okay, diagonal lines. Any kind of diagonal lines, think about it. When you move, you have to start moving diagonal. Through biorhythms, body rhythms, that means movement. If you move slowly, they're not really that much diagonals. Like your arms might swing, your legs might swing. But if I'm a runner, I'm going to crouch down. I'm going to have different, diagonals. So a lot of diagonals are very exciting, energetic. Now, if you have power, calm, some version of it, and movement, I can put that together. So for instance, on triangles, diagonals, if I have a triangle that's a perfect triangle, it means spirituality. Well, why? It has a bottom line that means peace and calm. It has 2 lines that are moving upwards. So if I have a calm upwards movement, that's very spiritual. If, however, I have a triangle, 3 sides, and that triangle is not even and it's at a tilt, it means super lot of energy. So angles that are odd number of angles that are tilted show extreme energy, like a kite or a sail. Potato chips are bad for you, but they want you to eat them quickly and energetically, and you'll hear the crunch with a potato chip. How many chips are triangular and on the package in odd numbers and angles, right? Squares are solid and trustworthy because it's calm and strong. Squares are stable and trustworthy. If I have a rectangle that's very tall, but still a rectangle, it means power that's very calm, but it's mostly power. Now, if the rectangle goes this way, it's mostly calm, but it's kind of a strong calm because it has strength on the sides, but mostly calm. Circles mean like a cycle. It could be eternity. It can be love, nurturing. It's often like a hug. Like when you see a circle, it's an embrace. Okay, because we know this because if you are loving somebody or embracing somebody, your body goes into a circular motion, right? And so the Jefferson Davis statue is surrounded by columns that create a half circle. It's embracing the idea of the South, literally, physically embracing it. You might see circles on a package of cereal or oatmeal that go like this. It means you're embracing, you're loving that cereal. Okay, let's see. So we have lines can mean something, shapes can mean something. Now let's do colors. And this is more for in the future, but I'd like for you to think, we're going to think of a positive and a negative. Because when I say the color gray, there's a billion colors of gray, right? So if I say the color red, there's a lot of types of red. So on red, we have a language here. What is the positive association with red? Anybody? Red
love.
means, love. We already know that from Valentine's Day. What is the negative association with red?
Anger.
Yeah, I see red, right? Okay, blue. If I'm feeling blue, I'm not painted blue. I'm anybody?
Depressed.
Thank you for being the spokesperson. I really actually like it because everybody's thinking it, but they don't want to say it. Okay, what is the what is the positive of being blue? Like, what is it?
I don't know. Joyful.
Joyful. How about if you say
mine, give me purple.
Yeah. How about true blue?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Somebody is true blue. What if a man wears a blue suit?
Doesn't it represent like calmness or tranquility? It's always been calming for me.
Yeah, it's always, well, you think of the sky or the ocean. So yeah, blue can be the positive is very calming. You can trust it. Like a true blue friend is somebody that you can trust. Blue ribbon is like the best, but also like
it's like a grand prize.
Yeah, like a grand prize. So you're feeling pretty confident, right? Blue is a calm, confident color. Okay. The positive of green.
I think of growth, I guess, because of foliage. I don't know. But
yeah, no, it's totally growth. Like green shows growth, it shows fertility. Even if you're thinking money, that's like our culture. Like not all money is green, but that even means growth, like wealth, right? If you have the green-eyed monster, what is it?
Jealousy.
Yes, we all like Shernay, you're like jealousy. So you speak that language. Let's see. Yellow, the positive of yellow might feel what?
Right.
Right.
Friendship.
Friendship.
Like when yellow rose often means friendship.
Yep. And it means remembrance. Like I remember my friends. It can be joyful and happy, sunny. Mm-hmm. Now you observe the warm, negative part of yellow every time you drive. What do I mean by that?
It's blinding.
Okay. Say what, Shernay?
Wait, what was it again?
Yellow. when you drive?
Oh, I was thinking of caution. Like,
yeah, it is. Exactly. When you see a yellow light, it's caution. It can also mean kind of taking chances, right? Because you're always trying to run through the yellow light, right? Now, for some, here is a regional thing. In the Southwest, you can call somebody a yellow-bellied something. And sometimes in the South, you don't hear yellow-bellied. Stephen, do you know what you are a yellow-bellied, can you fill in that word? Or no?
I've heard it before. I just can't think of it.
See, it's a good coward. See,
yeah, the yellow is definitely coward. I think even in the South they have one that's called like being lily, and I think that's supposed to be along the same line too.
See, so sometimes these meanings are real cultural, and for Stephen, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But in the West, like cowboys are like, you yellow-bellied coward, I'm gonna. Right? Okay, so now you remember. Purple, was it Charnay that said royalty?
I said joyful.
Okay, do you get that from Easter or what do you think?
This is what I did for I got it from like church, like, you get what I'm saying? Like the churchy words.
Yeah. I know churchy words. And actually, semiotics, churches, if you think about the seasons, they deal with color all the time. Like it's real important what you drape the cross with. And man, there's a ton of symbolism in Christian churches that would only be understood by Christians, maybe not Hindus. And so, like the semiotics, how do we make meaning? Like a lamb might have meaning for a Christian, but it might have a totally different meaning to, a Taoist or something. So the negative of purple is being bruised. Now, the theme of McDonald's is what?
Golden arches.
Okay, the golden arches. Now, golden is yellow, and yellow makes you what?
Happy.
And arches are curving, so it's nurturing. So you're happy about how McDonald's nurtures you. Now, are you necessarily happy in McDonald's, or are you kind of rushed and have no money? Right? And is McDonald's really nurturing? I know the guy who worked for the guy who designed that logo, and they call that logo Mother McDonald's breasts.
That explains a lot.
I know, I'm like, oh. Okay, so when you think about fast food restaurants, what colors do you think of mostly?
Red.
You're loving it. Orange.
Yellows, blue.
Yeah, yellows, you're happy. You're loving it. Blue, you can trust it. And that's not at all random. They did a lot of studies and found out that orange, because it has a little bit of, like, you love it and it's cautious, but there's also the negative. Red and yellow make orange, like anger and caution, like stress eating, I guess. Anyway, they found that if they put people into an orange room, they will eat faster. Like they just consume food faster than, for instance, if they put them in a pale blue room. And so fast food restaurants know that, and they can't really make money off of a $1 burger. I mean, they have to serve a lot of them real quickly. So those bright colors that are kind of like in your face, they aren't colors that you can like stare at for a really long time.
Yeah.
That's designed to make you eat faster and more.
Orange also, if you are in a stressful environment, like where I work, our walls used to be this really pale orange, and it would just feel hot and angry in there all the time. They finally, after 4 years, let us paint it a really pale blue, and you just walk in and it's automatically cooler and calmer.
Isn't it funny how the semiotics or the meaning of these colors are kind of creating the energy of the room, right? Interior designers deal with that all the time. They also found that if when they had a lot of people who they had arrested and they were in a holding tank and they were feeling really aggressive, that painting the walls like a soft blue made them more aggressive because they're acting out. But if they had like hot pink walls or hot green walls or like a really annoying wall, a wall that kind of was as overpowered them, they would be more subdued.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
the psychology is kind of interesting on that. So
what do you mean when you say overpowered them?
that the
It's like an overstimulation kind of thing.
Like it stood out?
Yeah, like, if somebody is screaming and you try to be real angry and you try to be real quiet, they'll direct their anger at you. But if they're met with overwhelming anger, they might like retreat some. So actually it's biological, because what happens is these walls reflect so many light rays into your eyes, and they stimulate your eyes so much that it kind of tires you. Like if you've ever looked at when you're driving, there's light, dark in the trees, and you feel kind of groggy. So actually it's a physiological thing where the light rays are working on their eyes so much that they get tired in that room. Isn't that wild? So, which is a good question, Charnay, because I think sometimes when I talk about like, oh, red will do this and yellow will do that, it's like, oh, did we make this up? And it's funny because when science really studies it, they find that actually the wavelength of those colors on your eyes create a response, much like a high-pitched noise might create a response, or a certain taste will create a response. And they found that these meanings that we intuitively associate are actually biologically there, which is why, like I started off with, when you were a baby in your mama's tummy, like you feel that these, the rhythm is correct. You actually carry that with you into life, but you're not thinking about it, but man, advertisers are. So let's see. You may find that in this next paper, just like when you look at a monument and it's really upright to reinforce power, or there's curves in it, you might be able to use that. Horses. If horses are standing straight up and down, that shows power. But if the horse's legs are moving diagonally, that shows, movement or dynamic energy, like they're really alive. So I think I've given you, I actually think this is a hard assignment. Does anybody agree? Yeah. Joba, is it hard assignment or easy at this point?
Now that you went a little deeper into it, it's a little better to cope with. It's a lot to take in, but it is doable, definitely.
Okay. Wilbert, I see that you've been listening, and we talked about you with your Guatemalan background. So you're kind of looking in possibly on this Southern experience. Or were you raised in the South?
Yeah, I was raised in Virginia most of my life, but since I do involve myself a lot with Latin American politics, it does feel like I've gotten a different perspective because, a lot of arguments can be said about Latin American figures, some people might extremely dislike Che Guevara, but there's still some statues down there in Central America. So it's interesting to get certain, because it's not really the same situation. Che Guevara was a revolutionary figure, but this was just more of a war, and the South lost. So it's they're two very different contexts, but it's interesting to see them play out in the situations that they are. So I feel like sitting here and being able to watch you guys having this discussion does give me a lot to write about from my own personal perspective.
You have a really cool perspective there that's like a really different one. I met a guy who had organized with Che Guevara in a little tiny town in New Mexico, and he was really old. And I was like, tell me what that was like. And he was just amazing at a firsthand account, right? So, when you said that Che was a revolutionary figure, this isn't the American Revolution, but in a way, Robert E. Lee could be seen as a revolutionary leader, right? Like they were revolting. and revolution is either evolution or revolting. I mean, kind of putting it together. And, you know, you're talking about kind of whether you're talking about recognition of indigenous life experiences or power struggles, which, geez, you know, Guatemala is an interesting example of that, isn't it? What I really like about your response is that you were able to see connections, and then you have the maturity to go, you know, you can't just jam these things together. There's distinctions. And if you read that impact rubric for critical thinking, I don't want to dump too much on you, but what Wilberth just did is at a very high level of critical thinking, because when you read that impact rubric, it says like student is able to discern, you know, the positive and negatives of a question or a debate, and then see what does apply in the debate and what doesn't apply in the debate. You know, that's kind of an important thing in an opinion, is to acknowledge where others are coming from, acknowledge the connections that are there, but also say, well, you know, some of this we have to like put aside. We have to recognize the context. I'm not saying that well, Wilbert, can you?
I understand what you mean, because the contexts are different. You know, there was a lot of racial injustice in the South during the Civil War. And I could be wrong on this fact, but I do believe that Cuba was desegregated like the same day that, you know, they officially took over. So it's completely different context, although there are similarities in the situation.
Yeah. So yeah, I will at some point, Wilbert, share with you the name of, I grew up with a bunch of Cuban refugees, boys that were crazy by the time they got to be teenagers in Florida because of their experience. And one of them has become a really important Cuban-American artist. So I'll connect you with his work sometime. It's very interesting to look at when you kind of see the connections. All right. I feel as though you guys are on a really good path for this. Right now, I need to catch up on the grading. So I thought what I would do would be to get you thinking about this and make the homework this week a little lighter until we get to Monday, with the idea of, if you really want to stay organized on time, Monday have a like really rough draft of your ideas. And I will give you a little bit of time on Monday to like, we'll have a conversation like this. In the meantime, I'll embed in our course page a conversation from another class. You are welcome to not listen to it, but I think that, you know, I see you guys being thoughtful, and sometimes hearing the thoughts of other people as well could help. So I will do that and add the assignments so we have something direct. Now, that being said, I have one other little weird thing for you on Monday. I just talked about vertical lines and shapes and colors. And after this, we're going to go to products, like how you are as a consumer are convinced to grab one thing off the shelf that costs a lot more money. And like, I got to have this. I have to have this Gatorade, this Cheetos, these Honey Nut Cheerios. And actually, they have put millions of dollars into researching what is on that package to make you grab it like that. And when I say they put in a whole lot of money into it, they actually have sensors that they put on glasses, and they show the test subject grocery shelves that are packed with these products that are different colors. And they actually track where the retina goes, like where you go when you look. So they know when to catch your eye exactly, and they know what product will catch your eye. So if they have like 5 different products that they're considering marketing, and they want to know which one is right, they'll put these retina trackers on, and they're like, oh, people will notice this. They also have, I forget the name of the cranial cap, but where they have neurotransmitters, and they are so sophisticated they can show a test subject a design for a product, and they know which part of the brain it lights up. And now what they're trying to do is light up the addiction part of your brain, not to addict you, but that like, I got to have this cereal. I got to have this product. Like, I got to have it. And I'm going to talk about the consequences of that. I'm not like really uncomfortable with that. But so my point here is there are lots of ways that advertisers use this basic language to manipulate you. My weird request for next class, sorry, is for you to look in your kitchen or pantry and find a product that you didn't buy because it was cheap, but because I want it. So, you know, like the cereal you want, if it's a real plain cheap thing, it's designed to look cheap and it just says cheap. But if it's something like, you know, Cheetos versus Tostitos, you know, what made you choose